fuck is up, internet? I'm that dude, Swainzilla, aka old guy with too much time on his hands, coming at you from a fucking spaceship, and this is the reviewer. You may be shocked to hear this, but I'm actually not a legitimate film critic. Yeah, it's true. I've actually never taken a class, never read a book, or even skimmed through an article on anything film education related, ever. But I have recently adopted sharing my thoughts about stuff on YouTube as a hobby. So I figured, why not throw the shows and movies I watch into the mix? Let's talk about episode 6 of Andor. If you're new to these review videos I'm doing for Andor, I am a pretty casual Star Wars fan. Like, I've watched all the movies except for The Last Jedi. I've watched all the Disney shows except for like the animated stuff. Like, I don't know anything about the comics, and the lore I'm not really interested in, man. Like, so you're getting a review of this show from a normie. Like, I watch Star Wars stuff because I like Star Wars stuff. I'm not all that concerned about the lore. So what I do is I'll watch the show, and then I'll kind of write down a list of the things I like, the things I think are mid, the things I don't like, and I'll kind of write those out, and then I watch Screen Crush as YouTube channel. They do a pretty good like Easter egg episode video like after the new show comes out. Anyway, I watched that for like the Easter eggs just so I can get a better idea what the fuck it was that I watched, and then kind of just like make it a little fresher in my mind. And then I film these where I just kind of read through the list. And like so far with this show, like I haven't had to like write too many things I don't like. I'm like really into this show. I think the writing is banging. I think the fucking acting is banging. I think like the plot is pretty legit. I love the fucking detail. It's like immersive. You know what I mean? I'm interested. I care about these characters. Like, I'm like into the show. So every episode we get introduced to new characters. And this one we get like these tribes people who, throughout the whole episode, I thought that they were the ones that were gonna attack. Like, they had already planned to attack, and they were gonna fuck up the whole heist somehow just by something they were gonna do. They just kept showing them, like, fucking chanting and all that. And there was, like, this constant build-up that I just thought, oh, maybe instead of giving us, like, a turncoat, these are gonna be the reason why things fall apart for our fucking heist people. And then we get, like, a pretty intimate view of, like, this Imperial officer's, like regular life. We get his kid, we get his wife, you know what I mean? We get a glimpse of how just fucking egotistical these motherfuckers are. The way they talk down about their plan on dominating these tribes people, talking down on them, and then explaining how they like fucking set up pubs and shit along the way to kind of distract them, just to even lower their numbers even more. It just like the detail of this show, I'm just constantly impressed by it. We get a very subtle like hand touching, so we know that the girls that are in our crew, that they're an item. And then like that girl, she ends up getting away at the end. I mean, I'm definitely curious about where those two characters offshoot from this episode. I kind of feel bad predicting like that the black ex-stormtrooper dude was going to be our turncoat. He actually fucking sacrificed himself for the betterment of the team, and they just kind of left his ass. You know, and then we get like these animatronic like characters that they throw at us in Star Wars. Like this doctor with the 4 hands or the 4 arms was just like That just seemed like classic Star Wars shit. And I definitely hope we get to see, some more of that kind of shit throughout, because we've just seen like people most of the time. Like our characters are all just regular people. Except for that droid who they've never gotten back to. But like everything else, like, some aliens, the show needs some aliens, that's for sure. I mean, the plot, like, I like how they just, every other episode up until this point, been jumping around all these different, like, individual story threads. But this one, until the very end, we're pretty much focused on the heist. And, I mean, the detail of it, like, there's like an anxiety, like I'm on the edge of my seat because there's just so many ways for this heist to go sideways. And I just like the music and everything, it just keeps ramping up, and you're just kind of like, you're just feeling like anxious, like what's going to happen to these characters? And you know what I mean? If you don't have that in a show, I mean, you don't really have a show. You know, and then at the end, we get all of our different timelines, other than the kid and his mom, the fucking rent-a-cop and his mom. We got like, it was pretty crazy how we get everybody reacting to this heist. Like, it must be like a huge event. Like, I like how the whole Senate is reacting, and that senator later, like, she snatches up her fucking iPad and checks it out. And I don't know if they have Twitter or what they have in this universe, but she's like, oh shit. The world building of the show, like, just, they pay so much attention to every detail. Even, like, the place where this heist is taking place, like, it feels like lived in. Like, these people are playing cards, and, like, it's just so legit how the world building of this show, like, they just pay so much attention to every, like, detail that it's just amplified. I mean, it literally feels lived in. The meteor shower was like legit, like they were talking about it, you know, and I mean, I know they can do crazy shit with like special effects in these shows now, but like, they impressed me. I was definitely impressed with the show, especially when they're having to fly through it and you realize that it's like fucking stones or meteors or whatever the fuck it is that are flying through the air. Like, I just think that was done a lot better than I was expecting. I didn't even know if we were going to see it, really. And I think they did a bang-up job with that. That was pretty legit. It's just like I said before, like just a suspense. And then finally we got some action, like a shootout, you know what I mean? In our heist, like, that was pretty legit. People diving and jumping. I mean, and as soon as I saw like that one henchman dude give our guy like a look, like Cassian a look when he was like bossing him around, I knew he was going to come back in and try to foil the plan. But you know what I mean? Our fucking extremist, the poor kid that ended up dying, and I knew he was going to die. I didn't know if he was going to die or if he was going to be like a major player down the road, but yeah, he died anyways. But he saved Cassian, and he kept the plan alive, and that's kind of what you saw. The anxiety of the scene and the action of it is that you're kind of expecting these guys to get caught because they're just such a ragtag group, and you're not really fully aware of the plan. You don't know that the lieutenant comes in, so that was the suspense, and the action was like legit. And I like that there were stakes, you know what I mean? Like, it was building up, and we lost a couple people, you know what I mean? We lost a nerdy kid. We lost a guy from the Beast, or the Bear. And I'll talk about him in a little bit. But, and then the ex-stormtrooper, like, we're supposed to believe that he's dead. But I don't know if that's true, because they didn't show him with his, like, tongue hanging out and his eyes crossed out, so we don't know if he's dead. We're pretty sure that the fucking guy from the Bear is dead and the nerdy kid is dead. So there were some stakes in this episode, so it wasn't like, oh, they, you know, things kind of just fell in place. There was like, you know, we lost a couple people. That's crazy. And then we have some loose ends, like we don't know we didn't see the lieutenant at all. The dark-haired girl, she kind of like bounced. I don't know if she's going to get down to where these temple people are and change into their outfits, or if she's going to fucking stick around and try to fuck around her and the lieutenant. Because I don't know if the the guy with the family guy, did he die? The officer dude that they took hostage and his family, did he die? He just kind of keeled over. I don't know. There's definitely some interesting aspects that are gonna. I'm curious to see what happens going forward with that. Like, is the ex-stormtrooper dude dead? I don't think so. I feel like that's gonna go somewhere for sure. The only thing I really thought was mid was like the dude from The Bear, like. His story arc again, like he's just kind of like I like the guy who's playing him. I like how he's being played, but it's like he wasn't the turncoat, and they kind of like disguised it a little bit with his concern about the nerdy guy. Like, let's go to the doctor. But as soon as they were like chilling alone, I knew he was gonna be like, "Hey man, let's fucking take this shit and bounce." I just knew it. So even though, and I know why they did it, they didn't want like a turncoat. They wanted the mission to succeed. And then they wanted some drama afterwards, which makes sense. And it played out pretty, just as a little transparent. Like I expected it, which in this show I really haven't expected much. So I've been pretty much surprised by a lot of stuff in this show. But then again, like... the way he was being shady, it shined more light on like our main dude's character, like Andor's character. Like, dude, as soon as he was like, "What about your brother?" and he realized dude was lying about his brother, dude, he ended him. Like, without question, without hesitation. Like, this dude doesn't give a fuck. He's going all out, and he's gonna do what has to fucking be done. That's for sure. So it did, even though it was kind of like, it's mid-ish, the whole arc thing, it did kind of give us some more insight. It did kind of educate us on who we're fucking dealing with here. And again, the only thing I really don't like is that and this has been a continuing worry of mine. I guess we're going to get like a first half and a second half of this series. The heist is over, so now we're gonna get into like the fallout of this, and that's when we get back to these other characters like Andor's sister, the mother figure, the black guy that helped him fucking escape with the mother figure, like the mechanic lady, the buddy that was a construction worker, whatever he was doing, like and our droid. We still have all of these other characters to get to. And maybe now that the heist is over, Andor has to go back to his planet because he doesn't have anywhere else to go. And maybe it's like, maybe then it's him and the blonde chick is chasing him and the rent-a-cop, maybe his uncle gives him a gig as like a bounty hunter or something. And so he's chasing him. Like... I feel like the fallout of this robbery, like the way people reacted to it. I mean, our museum guy went crazy. Like, you know, I mean, there's a guy just chilling in this museum on his iPad saying, "Yo, did you guys hear about this rebel attack? Like, crazy shit is jumping off." So it'll be interesting to see what the fallout is, and then if we get to see these characters, because I'm curious about them. That's kind of like a negative I have. And the only time I really rolled my eyes is that, you know what I mean, we're expecting, I mean, at least I feel like they kind of pushed us to think that there was going to be somebody that was like a snake in the grass in the crew. And then instead of giving us that, which I'm glad they didn't because it was like a little bit of a curve, but then they give us like this lame, the communication guy, like picks up their walkie-talkie signal, and that's how like the plan is almost foiled. I I like that they didn't. I like that they kind of juked us, but I feel like if I have any complaint of the show, which is I feel like it's pretty fucking. It's a small thing. I think I would have liked to see like our crew fuck up somewhere along the line, like somebody paid the price, somebody died because they fucked up, like. The ex-stormtrooper guy, he just died because he got caught in crossfire. Maybe if he like fucked up to where it made somebody suspicious, and that's how these people showed up in the vault while they were doing this. Maybe that would have just... It seems like a small thing, but it's something that I just noticed, and I thought it was worth mentioning. I don't know. I mean, but like I said, I like this show a lot. I'm stoked to see where it goes. The next episode, I can't wait till it comes out. I mean, I wish this was like a binge show where it just all came out and you can watch it. But I mean, I do kind of like it's drawn out. You kind of get to think about the episodes a little more, and especially since I'm doing this, I'm really thinking about the episodes because I'm writing these little things about it. I'm watching videos on it, and then I'm just trying to come off the top of my head with my feelings about what I liked, what I didn't like, what I thought was mid about the show. What do you think about Andor? I think it's pretty badass. I mean, I think it's the best Disney shit Disney's done with Star Wars. I mean, the acting is phenomenal. The story's good. Like, everything's believable. I feel like this is their best shit. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Let me know what you think about Andor. What do you think of this review of Andor? Let me know in the comments. But that's all I have for now. Catch you on the next one. Later.